Hello, Year 9 students. Welcome to another online lesson and another video as well. So today we will talk about developing analytical skills, how to apply my analytical skills to text or in my writing. Okay, this is a very important lesson that we will go through together today. So make sure you write the title and the lesson objectives that follow. The learning objectives are, first of all, to be able to understand why analytical skills are important to use. Okay, the reason why they are very important, that's what we will identify and we will find out today. To be able to understand how writers use language for specific purposes. Okay, writers, they use language for specific purposes because they've got different audience. They use language for specific purposes, okay, and for specific audience as well. Third of all, to be able to explore strategies for analyzing language. This is a very important learning objective as well that we go through together. Make sure you write the title and the learning objectives. Off you go. Welcome back. Lesson development. Now, let's talk about the lesson development. What can I expect from the lesson today? First of all, we will talk about the keywords. I want you to make some research as always. We will start off our lesson by looking at the important keywords for this unit. Number two, analytical skills. We will talk about and discuss why is it important to apply and develop our analytical skills and our critical way of thinking. Third of all, the genre and purpose. Okay, the genre and the purpose. Very important point that we will talk about together. We will recap genre and purpose and link it to analysis. All right, number four, activities. We will apply our analytical skills through a few reading and writing activities. So this is how the lesson will develop today. Just stay with me and keep watching the video. Analysis keywords. These are the keywords that I want you to look for and make some research about. Analyze, purpose, language, and genre. 4 words. Okay, these are 4 words that I want you to look into and try to find their definitions and how they are used as well. All right, try to do that. So analyze, purpose, language, and genre. Go through that. Off you go. Great. Now, number 1, exploring analysis. That's what we will talk about today, exploring analysis. Now, let's try to develop our analytical skills. The question that we ask here is, what is analysis? What is analysis? Okay, analysis is the process of breaking a complex or difficult topic or substance into smaller parts in order to gain a better understanding of it. So we have this big long text that we try to take smaller parts, we try to divide it because it's so complex, right? So we try to divide it into smaller parts, smaller sentences, smaller phrases to understand it better, all right? To get a better understanding of it, or its events, actions, and ideas as well. So this is what we mean by analysis, all right? Number 2, why do we use our analytical skills? Why do we use them? All right, or where do we use them? Sorry, where do we use our analytical skills? Do we use them when we read just text? Do we use them when we read reports, articles, reviews? Where do we use them? All right, this technique has been applied in the study of mathematics, logic, physics, and especially English language and literature. So in mathematics, for example, you use these analytical skills. You need to be an analyzer when it comes to mathematics. Why? To understand what equation means, or why is that equation giving me this result? You understand? So this is what it is, and this is what we talk about mathematical analytical skills. Logic as well, something that is logical, physics as well, gravity and so on, and especially English language and literature. And that's what we'll talk about together in this lesson. And the third question is, why is it important? Why do you think analytical skills are important? Why do you think analytical techniques are important? Analytical thinking is very important indeed. Can you think of at least a few reasons why analytical thinking is so important? I want you to think of a few reasons why it is very important. Write those reasons in your notebook, and then we can continue together. You've got roughly 2 minutes. Off you go. Great. Now, when we meet in the online lesson, I'm going to ask you to read the answers to every question. Okay, so make sure you answer those questions now as you're watching the video, because that's very important. When we are online, we will discuss them and go through them together. As I always say, I want you to be active learners, not passive learners. Okay, so possible answers, studying, engagement, problem solving, critical thinking. This is why we need to understand and study analytical skills. Studying, how does it help us? It helps me gain a better understanding of what I am studying and to improve the quality of my answers in tests and exams. I always tell you this, and I say, when you sit there, you need to ask the question, why am I learning this? Okay, why am I learning this? What will I gain? Understand? What will I gain by learning this? How will it help me throughout my life and my journey as I grow older, as I grow up in the workplace and everywhere in life? How will it help me? So this is why this is very important. Studying helped me get a better understanding of what I am studying and to improve the quality of my answers in tests and exams. Engagement, it helps me to fully engage in texts that I'm reading. I will be engaged when I understand what's going on in the text, basically, and analyzing will make you understand what the text is about. Problem solving, it allows me to find solutions to common problems, mathematical problems sometimes, in order to make decisions about what to do next. Critical thinking, it makes me a critical thinker who can identify all aspects of a problem and understanding why a problem exists. So you will be a critical thinker. So you say, why is that happening? And why did it happen in the first place? And how can I solve it? And how can I make it better? All right, so these are the possible answers that you might have written in your notebooks, right? Possible answers are studying, engagement, problem solving, critical thinking. Other students maybe have written something different. I want to read it and I want to see it when we meet online as well. So let's go to the next slide, which is about recapping genre and purpose. We have done this together. We've spoken about genres, we've spoken about purposes before, but let's do it again and let's do it one more time. Remember the following keywords: genre, a style, category of art, okay, music or literature, all right? It's a genre or a style, a type, a kind, all right? A purpose, what was the reason behind the director, author writing this book? Okay, what's the genre of this book and what's the purpose of this book? Is it to entertain people? Is it to make people laugh? Is it to teach us a story? Is it for morals? What is it for? What is it about, right? And the genre is the genre of the whole book, the style and the type of this book. Now, let's look at these images, and I will take off my webcam just for a few minutes so that you can look at these three, let me take my mobile. Yes, these three pictures, you can see them now. Look at the images on the right. Can you identify what genre of movies they belong to? Here we've got three different pictures, right? These are three different genres of movies. I want you to tell me what are those genres of movies, and I want you to type and to tell me what are the purposes as well. All right, so you've got roughly 3 minutes. Off you go. Great, welcome back. Now let me turn on my webcam again so that you can see me. 3, understanding writer's purpose. What's the purpose of the writer? Okay, now every movie that you watch or every book that you read has a purpose behind it. As I told you before, when we met face to face, I said nothing is written just for the sake of filling out empty papers. Okay, nothing, no, but everything is written for a purpose, all right? If there is no purpose, then your movie or book would not be successful. No one would want to read it, one would want to watch it, okay? In order to make writing more effective, writers make use of specific vocabulary in order to have an impact on their audience. So what do their writers do? They try to find some vocabularies to use to have an impact on the audience or on the readers. Okay, very important to use different words and different terms as well. Understanding how a writer uses language for a specific purpose is a key step to analyzing a text. Now, language is used for specific purposes. Okay, You have to remember the triangle, okay? The triangle. You've got always audience on the top, and you've got purpose and genre. Okay, you've got audience, purpose, and genre. We speak to different people using different tones for different purposes. Audience, purpose, and tone. All right, we speak to different audience, different people, using different tones for different purposes. Okay, you speak to your father using a tone, a specific tone, when you want something from them for a purpose. Okay, you speak to your little brother using a certain tone when you want something from your little brother. You understand? Let's say you want your little brother to lend you £50. So you go to him and say, brother, okay, I'll let you use my PlayStation for a week. Would you please lend me £50? I really need it, right? Your brother would say, all right. So your tone have changed. Even though it's your little brother, you should be very informal with him, but you're using a certain tone with him just because of the purpose. The purpose is to get the £50 out of him, right? Next week or after a week or after a month, your brother walks into your room and he asks, can I play with your PlayStation? And you go, no, you won't play with my PlayStation. Leave my room. Do you understand? You would kick him out because you don't need anything from him, basically. And this is just an example, right? You shouldn't kick your brother out of your room. If he asks to play with your PlayStation, you need to share. Sharing is caring. Okay, it's very important to share. But this happens, and we have these stories. So we try to change the tone just for a specific purpose, right? And you might not use that tone if the purpose is different, do you understand, or with a different person. So that's how it works, and that's what happens when we speak to people. That's why understanding how a writer uses language for a specific purpose is a key to analyzing a text. 3, for today's lesson, we will look at different words that are used in texts, and we will try to understand the purpose behind them. There are different words that writers used in different texts, right? And in different genres of novels and stories. We will try today to look at them and understand the meaning behind them and the purpose behind them. We call this understanding how authors use language for a specific purpose. Remember this sentence. Authors use language for a specific purpose. Okay, if the purpose is to entertain, they use a certain way of language. They use a tone. If the purpose is to describe, they use a descriptive tone. If the purpose is to inform, they use an informative tone. If the purpose is to just show how the language is beautiful and well put, they use the aesthetic tone. So this is how it works, and this is how language is used in different stories and different novels as well. All right, let's move on to the next slide for the main activity. All right, the main activity is very good. I like this main activity because it had 2 short extracts, okay? And you will read the questions and answer them on your notebooks, all right? So read through the extracts on the following slides and answer the questions that follow. So I'll leave you to it. I'll just turn off my webcam and I'll leave you to it. Extract number 1, you read it. Okay, it's on the brown box, and then you read the questions on the green box, okay, and you try to answer all of those questions, the 3 questions on the green box, and remember the hint. You need to read the hint there as well. It's very important. It's a short extract. Try to read it and answer the questions. You've got roughly 2 minutes. Off you go. Awesome. Now you are back. Now, extract number 2. You've got a little bit longer extract and 4 questions this time in the green box, and I want you to answer them as well. Just take your time, answer these. You've got roughly 2 minutes again. Off you go. Awesome. Now, let me turn on my webcam again. Here you go. Writing analytically. Very important to write analytically. You can just understand how to analyze and then don't know how to write in an analytical way. So look at the question below. Look at your previous answers, okay, to help you write out a response to this question using the writing prompt on the next slide to help you. I'll give you the writing prompt on the next slide, which will be the last slide of this lesson, and try to look at it in order to answer this last question. How has the writer successfully shown the heat of the desert through his use of effective language? Okay, I'll repeat the question. How has the writer successfully shown the heat of the desert through his use of effective language? It's a very clear question, very good as well. Now, this is how I want you to answer. The writing frame is very simple. Number one, point. I want you to state your point, your idea in response to the question. What is your point? Right? I want you to mention your point. You can start off by saying, it is clear that the writer, keep going. The character, this character is portrayed as, keep going. Do you understand? I'm just giving you examples. You can use something different as well. The author explores is a very good word, depicts John as, all right, and you say something else as well. The author figuratively describes the desert, or describes the tents, or describes the houses, the sand, all right, the people. You need to continue. All right, I'm just giving you examples on how to introduce your point, which is your response to the question. Number two, your evidence. Your point needs to have evidence. All right, and those evidence are quotes from the extracts that are in the previous slides, or from the text or the novel. All right, so the evidence are always quoted. All right, this can be seen particularly when the author describes. This is how you can write it. This can be seen, which is the point. This point that you've mentioned can be seen particularly when the author, you write your name, when Charles Dickens or Mark Twain describes, and then put your quote there from the text. Is very important. The description of, and then you quote, here is, and you continue. You always quote your evidence, is very important. Now, technique, what kind of language is used here? You need to tell us what kind of language is used after the evidence. All right, so you've got your point, you've got your evidence, and then you tell us what type of technique is used in this evidence that you've given. Is there something in the structure of to discuss? For example, alliteration, personification. Is it a metaphor that the author has used in this evidence in order to speak of the point that you've mentioned? So the use of alliteration, for example, emphasizes or suggests, and then you continue. You can say the simile figuratively describes, and then you continue. Or a particularly effective word or adjective that you will mention, type is. All right, so you can use emotive language, you can use all the rhetorical devices and the imageries that we've learned together in order to talk about the techniques in the evidence based on the point. And then you go to analysis, and in the analysis you basically analyze and you say, this gives the impression that furthermore the author implies. Do you understand? The word, you mentioned the word further emphasizes. All right, very important to analyze in that way as well. So all of these are together in order to create, okay, your answer. Link to author's ideas, back to point, context, next point. All right, you need to link all of these to your point. Remember that. It is therefore clear that, and you go back to your point, is, or you can say the author therefore portrays, and you go back to your point as well, and you explain it one more time. All right, so this is it. And this might look like a Peter paragraph, right? This might look like a PEE paragraph, where you have to give your point, to give your evidence, to give some techniques, and then explain how are those techniques related to the point. All right, in order to end your answer. This is a very important way to analyze, and this is how I want you to analyze your texts or extracts as well in the future. So thanks a lot for being part of this lesson. This is the end of the video, basically. Go through this again if you haven't understood. If you have any questions, please write them down on the notebook, and when we meet face to face or online, I want you to ask me those questions. Thank you so much, guys, for this amazing lesson. See you next time. Cheers.